Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. I am Beth and this is your Manchester United versus Fulham road trip. And we've not had to go too far for today's road trip. We're literally right outside the Theatre of Dreams where Michael Carrick will walk down that touchline and lead Manchester United to what we're hoping for, 3 out of 3 wins. The derby win, the amazing win at the Emirates, and then a pivotal win against Fulham. That is what we're hoping for. That is what I'm going to predict. Look, if you asked me before Michael Carrick came in, if he's going to get 3 out of 3 wins against Manchester City, against Arsenal, against Fulham, I'd be sat there and I'd be saying, yeah, the Fulham game at home, but that Arsenal and City game, they're going to be tough. Look, we've defeated the 2 toughest oppositions, but this game, this Fulham game, this is pivotal because this is the game where Manchester United, time and time again, have fallen apart and they've lost that mentality that you need to be consistent, and that's what Manchester United need to show. They need to show consistency. It's all well and good going beating Man City in the derby. That was absolutely electric. The atmosphere was on fire, and I do think the atmosphere is going to be absolutely incredible again for Fulham, by the way, because of the last 2 results. The Arsenal game, I mean, what a win. What an amazing day for the away fans. And I mean, has anybody else just been doing this? Can't stop doing it. Cannot stop doing it. That Cunha goal, like, it lives rent-free in my head. I think I've watched the highlights every single day, multiple times a day since we did it. And them 2 results, I mean, never in our wildest dreams do you think we were going to get 6 points out of 6 from them 2 games. But why the Fulham game is so pivotal, and every Manchester United game from now until the end of the season is pivotal, because every game is a cup final. We need Champions League football. That is what Manchester United's aim is. We're out of the FA Cup, we're out of the Carabao Cup, we're not in Europe. We literally have the Premier League week in, week out, and Champions League football, it is do or die. So every single game's a cup final, every single game is pivotal. But the reason why this is so pivotal is because Manchester United have shown themselves to be a very good side. They have beaten the best 2 sides in the league, home and away. We've shown we can do it. And not only have we beaten them, we've shown good performances. The City game was a good performance. The Arsenal game was a good performance. Yes, okay, in the first 20-30 minutes, Arsenal are over us, but they're at the Emirates, the title contenders, the title favourites. And, you know, the crowd was behind them. We dug in. We didn't crumble under the pressure. We hung in there. We came back twice. We showed risk. We showed heart, and we showed that we have the United DNA somewhere locked in there within this team. They've shown themselves to be a good side. They've shown what they can do. So you've got to show it in every single game. Can you also show it against Fulham? And that is the big question, because games like this, a team that Manchester United are expected to beat on their home turf, we have not managed to do it in the past, and we have fallen down at these hurdles. And Michael Carrick was speaking in his press conference, and he said the most important but also the toughest thing in football is consistency. And this is what Manchester United need to have. This is what the squad needs to have. You can do it against City, you can do it against Arsenal. Can you do it against Fulham? And I'm not even disrespecting Fulham as if this should be a walkover. Marco Silva is a very good manager. He's done an excellent job with Fulham. If they beat us, they will go within 1 point of Manchester United. It's very, very close. Some Fulham fans have European aspirations, and rightly so. They're banging the mix. They've got a good side. They've got centre-backs that can rough you up in Calvin Bassey and Anderson. You know, they've got Harry Wilson, who is arguably one of the best players outside the top 6. Harry Wilson is having a fantastic season. Yes, they're without a very, very, very good, important piece of their puzzle, their centre defensive midfielder, but Sander Berge is a good player within himself. They've got a lot of confidence. They will come here with slightly more nerves than they would have done if we were under Ruben Amorim, because Michael Carrick has had a huge impact, and Manchester United are the big talking point right now. You know, they've gone and beat City, they've gone and beat Arsenal, and people are starting to stand up and say, hang on a second, this is a pretty good side. So Fulham, absolutely, you know, we'll have a little bit more kind of doubt coming into their heads going into Old Trafford. So United need to capitalise on that. But Fulham are a good side. They absolutely have the capability to beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. They've shown before in performances that they can get the better of us. I thought we should have beat them at Craven Cottage, but again, it was a hurdle we couldn't overcome earlier on in the season. It was a 1-1 draw. United need to go out there and need to show themselves to keep that mentality up and go and beat Fulham and beat them convincingly as well. I'm going to get my prediction in early. I'm going for a 2-0 Manchester United win. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I think we're going to win it. I don't think it's going to be an absolute goal fest, but I think we're going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be the most comfortable win, but I think we will win it. And how do we win it? What is the starting 11? We all know that, unfortunately, the starter in Michael Carrick's first 2 games on the left wing, Patrick Dorgu, isn't going to be available. And although that is frustrating, although I am devastated for the lad, he was coming into his own in a Manchester United shirt, and it looked like the best we've ever seen Patrick Dorgu. He looks like a United player. He had pace, he had dynamism, he looked full of confidence. And when you're on that kind of form, you just want to keep playing and keep playing. And he will be a miss for Manchester United, absolutely will be a miss. I mentioned this on a previous show, and one of Fulham's biggest strengths is their wing play. They're excellent up and down the wing. They have great overlaps. Dorgu is going to be a miss going backwards just as much as he's a miss going forwards. Yes, he had the goal against City and Arsenal, but also what goes under the radar is, by trade, is a fullback. So he gets up and down that wing, helping out Luke Shaw, defensively covering really, really well. Ahmad does the same on the right side. He's played them wing-back stints. He's always been good defensively, Ahmad, so he does the same, and it's a crucial part of your game. So Manchester United will miss Patrick... Manchester United will miss Patrick Dorgu going backwards as well as going forwards. They absolutely will. So he will be a miss, especially against Fulham's wing play, like I was saying. But we do have cover, and who comes in to cover him? And for me, it's between 2 players. It's between Mason Mount and Matheus Cunha. And you can't not start Cunha. Cunha, I think he's been handled excellently by Michael Carrick, and that's not taking anything away from the player, because he's shown himself to be a top quality player that we knew he was and can be and will be for Manchester United, and has shown in moments of his Manchester United career. But he hadn't always shown it as much as we would want him to. He was getting settled in, and we were waiting for that Wolves Cunha to fully burst into life. He'd shown moments of it in the Leeds game at Ellen Road, in a pretty poor Manchester United side, sort of taking the game by the scruff of its neck. He showed it at Anfield in that amazing win at Anfield. He was man of the match and absolutely fantastic from minute 1 until the end. So he'd shown it, but he hadn't shown it as much as we would have liked. Michael Carrick, put him on the bench and has brought him on at crucial moments, obviously spoke to him and made his role seem super important to the player. And Cunha has spoken about Michael Carrick post-games about how much of an impact he's had, how together the United squad feel. And he's a player that would expect to be starting, and he's on the bench. And I think he sort of made it clear within the squad, no one's guaranteed to start. Even Cunha, who is a big money signing, who is a fantastic player, who's one of the better players in our squad, no one is guaranteed to start. I'm going to pick the right profiles for the right games, and you've got to earn your place in this Manchester United side. And Cunha handled it perfectly. Came off the bench against Man City, looked really exciting, worked super hard defensively, created that goal for Patrick Dorgu out of nothing, through sheer hard work and determination. Like, that wouldn't have been a goal without somebody with an excellent work ethic like Matheus Cunha doing everything he could to make an opportunity. Dorgu gets the goal. It's a much more comfortable win in them dying minutes for Manchester United. Against Arsenal, once again, he's coming off the bench. After having a good impact in the derby, he's coming off the bench. And he goes on, and again, no fear, composure, relentless, scores the winning goal. That is how you want a player to react. So you can't not start Cunha. And part of me is like, well, who's going to be our firepower off the bench if we need it? Because Cunha has done so well in that role coming off the bench and upsetting the opposition team. But I'm hoping within that stage of the game against Fulham, Manchester United will be in a comfortable position. You can never say never. Fulham are a tough side. I'm hoping we can get ourselves in that comfortable position. And at the end of the day, you've got to start your best team. Now, I'm a massive Mason Mount fan, and I think Mason Mount actually has really good attributes to cover what Dorgu was doing for us on that left wing. Dorgu, like I said, his defensive work is just as important as his offensive work. And Mason Mount, he's not the quickest in the team. He's not as if he's going to be making darting runs constantly up and down that wing. However, he works back super well defensively. He's smart. He gets in the right positions. He covers the spaces. He stops the passing lanes. He can make them runs in behind. He's technically sound on the ball. He's got a good cross on him. He's intelligent. He will get back and help Mason Mount out, help Luke Shaw out, and he will get forward and cause problems going into your opposition box. He's a workhorse, Mason Mount, and he's not really played that much under Carrick. I think Mason Mount, when you just look at it on paper, to cover what Patrick Dorgu is doing, he's probably got all the attributes closest in the squad. They're not the same profile at all, but he could cover the things that we need in that game. However, you've got to start Cunha. You just do. Because you've got to get your best players on the pitch, the players that are feeling themselves, the players that are confident. And Mason Mount is a quality player, don't get me wrong. But I think to not start Cunha after he's had them brilliant performances coming off the bench and he's the match winner against Arsenal, you've got to reward him with a start. So my starting 11 for this game would be the exact same starting 11 for the Arsenal game. The exact same, no changes. I'd even keep Dalot in because I think Dalot had a really good game, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of people calling for Mazraoui to start over Dalot, but Dalot's been in a side that's just beat City and just beat Arsenal. You can't just really change one player, and he's played well in that Arsenal game, and he came back from that yellow card very well in the City game. So I'd continue with Dalot in the side until he makes a mistake that says otherwise or has a poor performance that says otherwise. I'd start the exact same team, but I'd put Cunha in replacement of Patrick Dorgu. And then you've got Sesko to come off the bench and cause problems. You've got Mason Mount to come off the bench and cause problems. We don't know if Joshua Zirkzee is going to be back on the bench. We know he's back in training. And yes, Dorgu's going to be a miss, but we have cover, and I still expect Manchester United to win this game. Like I said, I think that back line is working pretty well together. I think they did excellently well against Arsenal, you know, despite that little Martinez mistake where he was so emotionally invested that he was so focused on Timber that he kind of lost the direction of the ball. But I think Martinez has been overall fantastic. His line-breaking passes are well needed. Like I said, best centre-back in the league on the ball. I truly believe that. And I think Harry's come into the team and looked fantastic. I think Dalot, despite having poor performances for most of the season, has done really well in these last two games, and Luke Shaw just comfortably puts in 7 out of 8 performances every week, and I know people don't like to hear it. Look, I might look like a fool. We might come out of the Fulham game, we might be saying, look, we bigged this team up massively for them 2 performances against City and Arsenal, and you know, we couldn't follow up against Fulham. We don't know until the game is played, and a small part of me in my back of my head is worried because I've seen it so many times before. I've seen the same story. I've seen us take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or 1 step forward and 2 steps back. We have to follow this up with a win. I'm predicting a 2-0 to Manchester United. Let's hope that Michael Carrick can continue his unbeaten run of manager of Manchester United, and let's hope the Old Trafford crowd are absolutely buzzing coming out of that stadium come the evening time, late afternoon on Sunday. So let's see. Thank you everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video, comment down below all your thoughts, and come on United.